Hi everyone, today we're going to be learning the basics of a sewing machine. I have a Kenmore sewing machine. It's a model 385 and I will be showing you the different parts of it. Alright, let's get started. Let's go here first. As you can see, there is a stitch width, which means this is how long your stitch can be. It can go from 0 all the way up to 6.5 just by turning this wheel here. Okay, I have mine at 0 because I have a straight stitch, but if you want a zigzag or a larger stitch, then you put it on 6.5 or so, or whatever works for you. Okay, I'll put that back on 0 and we're going to move down. Next we have our stitch length. This is how long you want your stitch to be. It can be from 0. They also have a stretch stitch, but 0 all the way up to 4. When you do a regular stitch, you want to have it at 3. That's what I have mine at. And we're ready to go. And you can change the length just by turning this knob. Okay. Alright, next thing we have our different types of stitches. Okay, you can do your buttonhole stitch as well as a straight, zigzag, and other type of decorative stitch. Alright, and you can also do some of the stretch stitches if you have a stretch needle. This is how you change or move. You turn this wheel right here, and as you can see, it changes your stitch. So that is how you this right here is the reverse stitch. You can go backwards when you're sewing. Over here you have, this is the wheel that goes to the type of stitch, as well as you have the hand wheel. When you turn the hand wheel, the needle goes up and down. So this is what this mechanism is for. On the side here we have the on-off switch, as well as we have the cord that plugs, that gives the machine power, and it attaches to the plug, as well as this is called the foot of the machine. So you want to always make sure that you plug the machine, and this is what your foot pedal is going to look like. This is what you put your foot on so that the sewing machine will do what it needs to do. So I'm going to put that on the floor, and I'm going to actually plug up the machine. Okay, alright, if we look on the top here, we have 2 places that we can put our top thread. We can put it right here, or we can put it right here. Okay, my thread is larger, so I'm going to put it on this one because it actually doesn't fit here. But if I had smaller thread, I will put the thread on. Now, you would not put these threads on at the same time, but I'm just showing you for example. You will put this thread on, and then you have a spool here that comes on and off. This actually keeps the thread on so it doesn't come off and, you know, mess up your stitch. Okay, there's also a spool for this one, but my thread is a little too big for it. But if I had a smaller one, I could definitely put the spool on it and it will hold the thread in place. If you look at the top here, this is what you use to wind your bobbin, which is your bottom thread. Alright, you can push it over and it'll actually help wind your bobbin. But when you're not using it, you always want to make sure that it's to the left. All right, we have our top where we can hold and pick up our sewing machine if we need to, take it somewhere else. And we also have a guide here to show you how to thread the bobbin when you're ready to thread. We have a wheel that you put the bobbin thread around, and we also have directions as to how to thread the machine when you get ready to thread it. Okay, this is actually for tension. It's on 5 right now, so you definitely want to make sure that your tension is about 4 to 5. All right, this is where the thread you will insert the thread. If you pull the hand needle up, you'll see a little wheel here, a little silver piece. This is where your thread is inserted when you're ready to sew. You can actually pull this piece out, and actually this is where your sewing light is located. I'm gonna on switch, cut on the machine, and as you can see, this is where the light is located. So you definitely want to make sure that you keep this closed, but if you ever need to change the light, then you know how to open it. All right, let's go down a little bit more. Here we have the needle. This is where your thread will go through, and this little circular piece right here, this actually loosens and tightens the needle if you ever need to change it. Okay, it's actually called the presser foot, and you definitely want to make sure, this is definitely vital when you are sewing, that if you turn the machine around just a little bit, there's a lever that's right here. It's right on the back. All right, if you push that lever down, oops, the presser foot goes down. When sewing, your presser foot has to stay down. If you push that lever up, then the presser foot is up. So definitely, now don't slam it like that, but it should go down lightly when you're sewing, and when you're not sewing, it should go up. Okay? All right. Next thing you need to see is this is actually the metal plate that you will use when you are sewing. Right here, you can see there are measurements that you will use to make sure that your stitch is straight. Right here is the bobbin case opener. So if you press this little button to the right, the bobbin case will open for you. Okay, so this actually holds your bobbin, and you definitely need this piece if you're trying to sew anything, because it's not going to work for you. Inside of the bobbin case, there is the bobbin thread. Okay, this is the thread at the bottom. When you are sewing, you need a top thread and a bobbin or bottom thread. Okay, this is actually the bobbin case, and this silver lining, you will need that when you are ready to thread your machine. So I'll put that back and put this back. All right, this metal case right here, important. You need to know that you have a screw right here that you will need when it's time to clean the machine. You definitely need to make sure that you are consistently cleaning your machine. Otherwise, it is going to mess up your stitching, and you're going to need a repair if you don't clean it. All right, on a regular basis, that is. All right, next thing, there's the sewing extension plate. All right, you can actually pull this out. When you're sewing, sometimes you need a very narrow surface, and sometimes you need a very wide surface. So this is removable if needed. Right here, that's for buttonholes. You don't necessarily need that. Let me show you one thing. You can actually take the presser foot off and change your feet. If you go back here, there's a little red button. Okay, if you push this button, the presser foot will actually come off. Okay, it'll actually loosen it, and you can remove it to put on another foot right here. These are actually called the feed dogs, and this is what pushes your fabric through the machine. And so that's very important. You always want to make sure that these are up, and then they have different measurements right here too, if you can see them. 6/8, 5/8, 3/8, etc. So let me put this back on, and the way that you put the presser foot back on is you move it just to the side, right under this part. Let me get that. Okay, there we go. And then you just push the presser foot level down on that back lever and push it back up, so it's up now. All right, so next thing you need to know is you can open this box, and this box has a lot of cool tools in it. Some of these are my tools, and some of these are just tools that are included in every sewing box. So let me show you some of these. Let's start over here. This actually assists with putting the the thread through the needle if you have a hard time with that. So this assists with that. I don't use it that much because I can usually thread a needle pretty well. You have your cleaning brushes. When you are ready to clean your sewing machine, pretend like you were about to clean it. You would take the bobbin case off, and you would take the bobbin out, and you will use your brushes to clean inside of here, etc. Just so that your machine, you have to definitely make sure that you maintain your machine. If you don't, then get ready to pay large fines and fees because you didn't take care of it. Okay, so we have our machine brushes. We also have a screwdriver. This is usually to take the plate off when cleaning, as well as you may use it in different parts over here, but I have two different types of screwdrivers, mostly flatheads. This is my scissor sharpener. This doesn't usually come in a case, but I use it to sharpen my scissors. I showed you what this was, but this was the spool for the top thread. These are quilting tools. I don't use those that much, but they're usually included in your box. You have extra bobbins, and these are the different type of feet that you can change on your machine. This one is actually a zipper foot. This is used to create buttonholes, things for, I forgot what these are for, but they do different type of stitches, and it works well when you're doing different things. So you can look in your sewing manual, and it'll show you exactly what all these feet are for. I have different types of sizes of needles, smaller needles like your 9s, and then you have your medium size, which is like your 11s, and then your larger, which is the 14 and 16. So it depends on the fabric that you are sewing. It tells you what needle that you need and what will work best for your fabric. So all of these things are included in your sewing box. So you know the basic workings of a Kenmore sewing machine, and our next tutorial will be on how to accurately thread your machine so that you're on your way to sewing. Thank you for listening.